On the morning of February 25, 1990, at approximately 4:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Terri Schindler supposedly collapsed in the hallway of their St. Petersburg apartment. Firefighters and paramedics arrived in response to Michael's 911 call and found her face down, not breathing. She had no pulse and was unconscious. They attempted to resuscitate Terri, defibrillating her heart several times before transporting her to Humana Northside Hospital, where she had been intubated, ventilated, and restored to breathing through a tracheotomy. However, the long period without oxygen led to profound brain injury.
No person should be starved or dehydrated to death. No person. If they're a human being, then that's it.
Terri Schindler is not terminally ill, but she's inside there. Terminally ill under the state and federal definitions is expected to live 6 months or less, and she's been in there almost 5 years since April of 2000.
Terri is both an individual, but she's emblematic of what's being done to a lot of people with disabilities. We want to save Terri, but we also want to make sure that a lot of other people are given the opportunity to live with disability rather than being killed as she's being killed right now.
It had always been assumed by the mainstream press that Terri's condition resulted from cardiac arrest caused by an imbalance of electrolytes in her blood. However, we now know by Pinellas County Medical Examiner Dr. John Thogmartin's autopsy report that Terri Schindler most likely did not suffer from an eating disorder and did not collapse due to a heart attack. His autopsy report included the following two statements. Number one, the main piece of evidence supporting a diagnosis of bulimia nervosa is suspect, or at least can be explained by her clinical condition at the time of the blood draw. Number two, the common term heart attack is generally reserved to describe the medical condition of myocardial infarction. Mrs. Schiavo's heart was anatomically normal without any area of recent or remote myocardial infractions. Michael Schiavo's account and testimony about the events leading up to Terri's collapse have been called into question numerous times. He has even contradicted his account of how he found Terri the morning of February 25, 1990, while under oath at a July 27, 1992 medical malpractice deposition. Question. Now, when you saw her, do you know what time it was? Answer. I believe it was almost 5 a.m. Question. When you saw her, how was she lying? In other words, on her back, or answer, on her back. On January 24, 2000, Judge Greer asked Michael, question, Michael, tell me what occurred on February 25, 1990. Answer, I got home late from work that night. I came in the house. Terri woke up. She heard me. I gave her a kiss goodnight. She gave me a kiss goodnight. A few hours later, I was getting out of bed for some reason, and I heard this thud. So I ran out into the hall, and I found Terri on the floor. I knelt down next to her, and I turned her over because she sort of fell on her face, on her stomach and her face. I turned her over going, Terri, Terri. Questions about the accounts of that morning were relevant enough to warrant Governor Jeb Bush to authorize the state attorney to investigate allegations that Michael Schiavo waited more than an hour to call 911 on the morning of 1990. Michael testified in 1992 that he had found Terri at 5 a.m., but he contradicted himself in a 2003 television interview when he claimed to have found Terri at about 4:30 a.m. that morning. According to terrysfight.org, after the supposed accident, before calling 911, Michael called both Terri's brother Bobby, who lived in the same apartment complex, and Terri's father, who told him to call 911, but instead he called his lawyer, and then called 911 at 5:40 a.m. that morning. According to police reports, when the paramedics got there, Terri was face-planted in the carpet. Michael did not turn her over as he had testified, nor did he administer life-saving CPR as he was a trained EMT.
And why did you come down here?
I came down here because what is happening any way you slice it, it's an outrage.
You know, that they don't have the right to end a life that way. Why did you come out here today?
I came out here because I believe this is very wrong, what they're doing to this woman. All the legal aspects of the case aside, I think that it's inhumane to starve a human being and to dehydrate a human being to death.
The Empire Journal wrote, quote, "The only other person present at the time she incurred the injuries was her husband, Michael Schiavo, and according to family members and friends, there had been a pattern of domestic abuse in the relationship, possessiveness and anger allegedly demonstrated by Michael Schiavo." End quote. It has also been noted that when the paramedics first responded to the call years ago, they reported it to the police as a suspected case of domestic violence. On April 26, 2000, a former girlfriend of Michael Schiavo's, Cindy Shook, called up a radio station and told them that
I'm sort of personal with this case because I was the first girl that Michael Schiavo dated after his wife had his heart attack. About 3 years after she had her heart attack.
Right.
And he used to go visit her at the nursing home while we were dating. He was real into taking care of her. It was before he ever filed his lawsuit. And he used to stay there a lot longer than he told me because he said that he's a real loud guy. And he would go through the nursing home, and he said immediately, as soon as he got near the door, her head was already looking at the door because she would recognize his voice.
Right.
And she would start crying when he got ready to leave. And he was like, "She has ruined years of my life, and she has taken all this time and obsessed my whole life with this, and this is all her fault." And just a complete change.
Really?
And yeah, and I was just like, "I don't even know who you are, but get away from me." And
How long did you date him?
I dated him for a year. Mike's he's very possessive, he's very jealous. He stalked me at where I worked after I stopped dating. When he would get mad at me, he would tell me, "I would rather be with her laying in that bed in the nursing home than you." I mean, he can be the most incredibly mean person.
Then Schindler attorney Pat Anderson filed an emergency motion claiming Michael Schiavo failed in his duties as a guardian because he did not uphold Florida statute 744.472, which requires that the guardian protect the rights of the ward, provide for her health and safety, properly manage her financial resources, and help her regain her abilities to the maximum extent possible. A stay was then ordered by Judge Frank Quesada, who recognized the inconsistency of Schiavo's trial testimony from 2000. Judge Quesada ordered that Terri's feeding tube be reinserted, which saved her life ultimately for another 4 more years. Michael claimed Terri would not have wanted to live this way and was determined to fulfill her wishes, he said, to have her feeding tube removed. He insisted that he loved her anytime anyone from the media, TV, radio, or newspaper called for an interview, and yet he would never voluntarily mention to any of them that at the time he had been living with his new fiancée, their 2 biological children, and that they had been together for 8 years. And neither did he mention that only about $50,000 of the $1.3 million he won in Terri's malpractice suit had ever been used on Terri's behalf in the first 5 years following the jury verdict. Michael Schiavo expended illegally $650,000 of Terri's money, not for therapy, but primarily for the lawyers he used in efforts to see Terri murdered. Over a dozen prominent doctors and therapists have stated that with therapy she could have been rehabilitated. Terri's parents had battled Michael for years just to win the right to care for their flesh and blood daughter. All they wanted was Terri's guardianship to be transferred to them so that they could look after her well-being in a way that assured her further joy and happiness in life.